Hello, my name is David from Tech Hangout. So in this today's edition, I'm going to discuss about setting up Azure VM for Microsoft Entra ID authentication. So for those that may not be familiar with this term, I'm going to teach you in this tutorial whereby you can actually set up your Azure VM such that you can use your Entra ID or Azure AD to sign in into the VM. So before now, administrators find it difficult to actually manage different set of VMs because you are unable to sign in into the VM with your central account, which probably your Azure AD account. Using your Azure AD account will actually simplify the process of managing authentication and user management in your environment, and that is why I'm bringing up this tutorial to ensure that most people that still currently using local admin signing in their environment can quickly adopt this Azure AD authentication. So one would ask, so why is this necessary? Well, enabling Microsoft Entra ID authentication for Azure VM actually addresses several pain points that admin are currently facing because it's just simplify access management and then move the hassle of individual VM account and leverage on the central security policies that's already existing in the environment. So actually that would give you a unified identity solution that actually strengthens security and reduce chances of password related issues and align with modern access control based practices. So and that is why I'm bringing up this. So in this tutorial we are going to follow we are going to actually go through 4 steps to be able to achieve this. So the first steps is to join the VM to Entra ID, which I'm going to show you briefly. And the second one is we need to disable network level authentication in the VM. And the third step is we need to grant the required Entra ID permission. And the fourth step is for us to modify the RDP file to support Azure login. So this is actually going to be a practical steps, but if you want the slide after the end of this class, so you can request for it, and I'm going to share the slide with you. But bear in mind, these are the 4 steps that we are going to go through. So let's move into action. So I have my Azure environment opened. So I'm going to create the virtual machine that we are going to use. So if you remember, the first steps I mentioned is to join the VM to Entra ID or Azure AD. So I might actually use interchangeably because I'm kind of more used to Azure AD because Entra ID term is introduced lately. So when you hear me say Azure AD or Entra ID, so don't be confused. I'm actually referring to the same thing. So remember, I said the first thing that we are going to join the VM to Entra ID. So if you are creating the VM newly, then you can actually specify that you can actually specify that you will be logging into the VM with Entra ID. But if you have an existing VM that you have, you can use any of 2 options. One, you might actually log on to the VM and join in to Entra ID, or you can actually make use of Azure AD login extension. So I'm going to show you every of these steps, so just stay tuned. The video might be long a bit, but I will break it into two, but I'm not too sure. But I just want to make it just one single video. If I notice that it's getting too long, maybe I would actually make it two videos. So let me quickly create my Azure VM, and I will show you a very important step while setting up a new VM, where you can specify that you will log in with Entra ID. So I'm going to create the VM very fast, so I might not necessarily be showing you how to create VM, because this tutorial is not about that. So I will just focus on the things that are related to this class. So let me just call it Tech Hangout. So actually creating a resource group for this, so that every of my resources can be under that. So let's call it Tech, and so I'm not going to explain most of all these things, so I'll just focus on what is related to what I'm talking about. So let me just call it Tech, and let my password. So my password again, oops, okay, that is good. Okay, so I'm going to move straight. So you click on next and next. So under this management, it is very important that you check this. So this is a very important step while setting up a new VM, to ensure that your VM can actually support Azure AD login. If you check this, the virtual machine would be automatically kind of joined to Azure AD for you directly. So this is when you are creating a new virtual machine. Under management, it is very important. So once you're setting it up, go to ensure that under management you have actually check this box, and when you check this would also be automatically checked for you. So once you check this would grayed out, and it would automatically check this. So I'm going to proceed to actually create this VM, so I'm not doing anything special. So once I have the VM set up, I would come back and then show you every other few steps, just to make sure that the video is not too long. I'll be right back shortly once the VM is up and running. So while this deployment is going on, so I'm also going to create another VM. So this time around, I'm not going to check the Entra ID management under the management tab that I showed you earlier. I'm not going to check that. So, and the reason why I want to do that is because I want that to represent an existing VM. So that is why I want to do that. So I will just make sure that that represents an existing VM. So that is just the scenario that I want to test with that. So I'm going to create a new VM right now. So this new VM that I am creating, I'm not going to check the management box, which is the Entra ID management session. I wouldn't do that, so that we would later connect that using extension. So just in case, I'm just letting you know that. Okay, So let me just do that. I believe the other one is still setting up. So password is wrong. Okay, so this is tech one, as you can see. So for this one, I'm not going to do anything, so I will just create it straight up. So that would represent something is missing. Can't find anything missing here. So immediately I set up this VM, so I would come back just to show you the difference between the two VM before I proceed to the next step. So as I've mentioned earlier, I have two VM running already. The first one represents a newly VM that I am creating, and I ensure that I check the login with Entra ID under the management tab. And this second VM, I assume that is an existing VM that I would like to also join to Azure AD. So I'm going to use the extension for this second VM, and there is also a third method which I'm not going to go through because I believe you might be familiar with that. The third method is, let's say you have an existing VM that you'd also like to log on with your Azure AD. You can actually log on into the VM and join the VM to Azure AD naturally, so that will still give you the same solution or the same outcome. So summary of what I'm saying, we are still on the first step, which is joining the device to Azure AD. And when you are creating the VM for the first time, you could actually ensure that you check login with Entra ID under the management tab. Then for an existing VM, you have two methods. You could rather use the extension method, which I'm going to demonstrate here, or you could just log on to the machine or to the device and literally join the device to Azure AD. So I'm not going to go through the Azure AD method, so I'm going to pause this now, wait for my deployment to complete, then I will come back. So I have my two VM up and running. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to log in into the two VM just to show you the difference on how each of them will look like and what we are trying to achieve. So let me do my RDP, and so I would think I'd use a tech and so while this is rolling, let me quickly go to the VM2, which is tech 1. use tech one. Okay, so it's running. So just accept. So you can see it's a brand new VM. So let me go for the second one too. So why this is running, so let's go to the first one, and let me show you. So if I go to settings, so mind you, I log on with the local admin. As you can see, the normal sign in. So I log on with the normal sign in right now. So we are here to complete the task. So if you go to, you can see this as connected to Entra ID. This is because we check the login with Entra ID option while we are setting up the VM, and that is why you can see it has automatically joined it to Azure AD or Entra ID. So let's go to the second VM to also confirm. So for the second VM, let's see what we have here. So you can see this is tech one, and if we go to accounts, this is tech one. I log on with the local admin. You can see this does not have that connect to Entra ID. Remember, for this second VM, I did not check the login with Entra ID option. So as I was explaining the other time, let's say for example you want to connect this device using the joining it to Azure AD, you can actually click that plus menu and then say join to Entra ID, and then you can put in your global admin email and password to literally join it to Azure AD or Entra ID. That will also serve you as joining it to Entra ID, but I'm not going to use this method. I'm going to use an extension to fulfill the same purpose, which I know so many people knew this new method now, but the extension method, many people might not be familiar with that, so I would like to go with that. So I'm going to add the extension to this, and then let's see the effect right away. So I'm going back to, so that is tech one. If you remember, so I will click on tech one, then I will go to the setting tab. So under the setting tab, go to extension and application, then I'm going to add extension. So I will add extension. So I would look for this extension, Azure AD base signing. So I'm going to add this extension. So, and one thing I need to mention, if you want to add that extension, ensure that you have your VM powered on, or your VM start on. So maybe your VM should be running, let me put it that way. So I'm adding that extension to my tech one. So once I'm done with adding the extension, I would go back into the VM to check the status of joining to Entra ID status, and then we would confirm that yes, it has activated that connected to Entra ID status for us. So once that is completed, then we would go to the step number 2 of this process, which is disabling network level authentication. Level authentication. So is still running or trying to deploy this on my Tech 1 VM. So while this is going on, so I would like to just go to my Tech VM, which is this one, the Tech VM. You can see which this is the one I'm going to use for the main project. So I just want to show you how to use extension on the second VM. So while that is deploying, so I'm going to come in here and just proceed with my step 2. So the step 2 here is you can go to control panel. So you go to control panel, go to control panel and do this and click this, and then you uncheck this, or you can use shortcuts if you like shortcuts. So you can say that is sysdm.cpl. so that should do exactly the same thing, and go to remote and then uncheck this. So this is our step 2. We are disabling the network level authentication. So I have disabled that. So we are done with step 2. So the next one is step 3, which is granting the require Entra ID permission. So typically we have 2 permissions, which is virtual machine administrator login. So this virtual machine administrator login actually deals with maybe if the user would be performing some administrative task on the VM. That is when you assign this type of permission. But if it is just a normal user, so the permission that you would assign is a virtual machine user login. So those are the 2 permissions that we probably will be related, but there are other ones, but these are the 2 that might be commonly used. Let me put it that way. So the first one is a virtual machine administrator login, and then virtual machine user login. So the first one, which is administrator login, if user will perform administrative task. Then the second one is a virtual machine user login if it will be a normal user. So we are going to add that login under the VM. So before we proceed to that, so let's quickly go back to the Tech VM and see. So this deployment is now complete. So let me go back to my Tech 1 and check this status here. So this is this, if you check, this is Tech 1. Yep, let's see Tech 1. So if you see, this is Tech 1. So then I go to account, access work or school. You can see it now. It has given us the same status that we have with the first one that was set up from beginning. So I just want to show you this step. So in case you have an existing VM, you don't need to destroy the VM, just add the extension, or better still, you connect here and then join the device to the Azure AD. So I think that is all I'm going to do for this particular VM. So I would focus on VM1
henceforth. So now let's go to VM1 and proceed with our third step. Let's go to the VM1 or the tech VM. So let's proceed with that. So we are going to add the necessary permission. So you can add the permission on the subscription level, which is it's not too good. So it's better you can add the permission on the VM level, as the case may be, or you can just group it based on the governance of your environment. That is something left to you. So I'm going to use this VM for the rest of the steps. So this is tech. Now go to access control. So for this access control, typically you can actually create a group. So it might be better for you. Maybe you have a large organization, you have a large number of users that would be accessing the VM, as the case may be. So in that case, you might need to assign the permission to a security group rather than just assigning it to one user, like I'm doing right now. So I would do virtual machine user login, since let me assume I'm not doing anything administrative task on the device. So let me just search for it, user login. So here it is. So I'm going to use this. So and then I will do next. So I will select this user. So I'm going to assign it to this user I'm currently using. So say this. So I'm assigning it to this user right now. So I'll do next. So I will do next again. So I think so it's assigning the permission to the user, which that is the third step. So the last step, which is the final step, is modifying the RODP file to support Azure AD login. So what I'm going to do in this last step is that I'm going to download the RODP file, and then I would modify it with about just 2 lines. So that line would enable it to actually support Azure AD login. So I'm going to download the RODP. So it has been downloaded on my device. So I'm going to open it and then edit it. So here is the RODP. So I'll right click and then I'll go to edit with notepad. So I'm going to add 2 lines here. So the 2 lines that I'm going to add, I'm going to paste it on the comment section in case you need it. So I would paste it. So I added these 2 lines here. So I'm going to save and then close it. Then once I close it, then I would go back and then launch the RODP. So launching the RODP right now. So I can check, do not ask me again, as the case may be, but it's not necessary because it's just a test VM. So as you can see, here it is, it's showing me this menu. So if I had not added the other 2 lines I added earlier, I wouldn't have gotten this. So then I would enter my email address. So that is, I will do Azure AD. So remember the
user we added, tech hangout at com. Oops. I hope I got the address correctly. So I enter my password. Let's see. So another user is connected. So I think I connected with the local admin user on the other session. So you can say yes. Let's kick it out. So you can see it's logging in. So you can see it's logging in already. So I think we have been able to achieve the purpose of the class. So just a summary of the 4 steps again, while this is trying to set up. Okay, so you can see now it's signing me in already. So the first step is you joining the device to Azure AD, which I mentioned that there are two ways. Probably you are setting up a new device, then you need to check the login with Entra ID checkbox under management. Then if you have an existing VM, you can either use the Azure AD login extension, or you can join the VM to Azure AD. Then the second step is you disabling the network level authentication on the VM. Then the third step is you granting the Entra ID permission, which would either be a virtual machine administrator login or virtual machine user login. Then the last step is you modifying the RDP and then downloading it and then adding these 2 lines, and then you have it. So typically you might just distribute the RDP among your users so that they will just double click on the IDP and then log in directly to it. So as you can see, this is an Azure AD user. If you see it, so you can see the user. This is the tech hangout. You can see it. This is the Azure AD user, and then if you check, you see it. So I log on with Entra ID. So think that is the end of today's class. So if you want the slide for the class, I have the slide in full steps that detail everything from step 1 to step 4 and every other things you need to do. So if you want the slide, you can actually use the link in the comment section so that you can send me an email, then, or let's say you can send me your email on the form, then I would do well to forward the slide to you. So if you are here to subscribe to my channel, please make sure you do. That will usually encourage me to do more and to bring some exciting knowledge sharing that will benefit every one of us. I really apologize if the class is too long, but I just want to make sure I go through all the steps, and then explain everything step by step, such that even if you don't really have much knowledge about Azure, or you are trying just to practice few things, it will be easier for you to go through the step. So till I come your way next time, stay blessed and have a very wonderful day. Bye bye. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button, like, and also comment, so that it can reach more people and it can really encourage us to do more. Thank you. Bye bye.